What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new melee weapon that came with the launch of Season 3. This is the Gladiator, and essentially we're just going to see how this stacks up against all of the other melee weapons. Also, it is worth noting, this also applies to the B.E.A.S.T glove, since the B.E.A.S.T glove is just a blueprint for the Gladiator, although it costs a lot of money because you have to buy 4 bundles in order to unlock this glove. But I just want to be super clear here, this is just a blueprint for the Gladiator. You'll gain no statistical benefit whatsoever by buying this, so don't go throwing away a bunch of money thinking you're getting like a better melee weapon out of this. This glove is purely cosmetic, but I mean, spend your money however you want to spend it. And without further ado, let's just dive right into the breakdown and comparison with all of the other melee weapons in the game, including the Modern Warfare 2 ones. I thought I would just throw them all together here, so we have a really nice overview of every melee weapon in the game. And we're going to start this off with damage per hit, and this one is quite interesting. In private matches, the Gladiator only deals 135 damage, so it should be a 2-hit kill. However, in public matches, it's clearly killing in 1 hit, even against enemies that are obviously at full health. So it's a little bit strange, but this is a 1-hit kill in core game mode, so it deals at least 150 damage. Then we'll talk a little bit about our pre-hit delay. So this is the amount of time it takes from the moment you press the melee button to the moment you actually get a hit on the enemy player, since there is that little animation that takes place first. And with most melee weapons, this is 250 milliseconds. However, with the Gladiator, it's actually a little bit slower at 284 milliseconds. And while this isn't really a huge difference compared to 250 milliseconds, it is the type of thing where in some situations, it will actually make that difference between getting the kill or yourself getting killed. After that, let's look at our swipe speed. So this is the ability to get 2 swipes really quickly. So if you have 2 enemies standing side by side, for instance, how quickly can you kill both of them? With the Gladiator, this is actually a bit of a standout in this area at 400 milliseconds. This is noticeably better than almost every other melee weapon in the game, with the one exception being the Tonfa. The Tonfa is by far the fastest in this area, but the Tonfa only does 135 damage, so you require 2 hits to kill, whereas with the Gladiator, like I said, it's just a 1-hit kill. So that's actually a pretty nice upside with the Gladiator, but then again, in core game modes, it's not often you're going to be getting 2 enemies literally touching each other, and therefore you need that really quick second swipe. But after that, let's have a look at our lunge range. And with the Gladiator, it's actually the same as the Soul Render at 2.2 meters, and this is noticeably better than the Gutter Knife and the Karambit as well. In fact, out of the 1-hit kill melee weapons, the Gladiator and Soul Render have the best range potential overall. And then finally, for this particular section, I wanted to also take a look at our maximum hit angle. So how far off target when you're at that maximum range can you be and still have it register as a hit, still have it lunge toward the enemy player? And it turns out in this case, it is 30 degrees, which is pretty standard. Some of them are 35 degrees, they're a little more forgiving. This one is on the less forgiving side, but I mean, it's still pretty easy to get yourself a hit. And with that, that wraps it up for the first section of melee weapons, where we're looking sort of at the raw power of the melee weapon itself. And overall, I would say the Gladiator doesn't look too bad in this area. I mean, that range is nice, the swipe speed is nice if there are multiple enemies, but you definitely have to be aware of the fact that it will take you slightly longer to register that kill from the moment you press the melee button. As for the next thing I want to look at that's really important with melee weapons, this is your movement speed. How quickly can you navigate the map, and how quickly can you close that distance on somebody in order to get within melee range? And when it comes to our base movement speed, the Gladiator is around average for a Modern Warfare 3 melee weapon at 5.18 meters per second. This is very, very similar to like the Gutter Knife or the Karambit, for instance. Then when it comes to our sprint speed, this is 6.72 meters per second, which is a great movement speed. It's not quite as good as the Gutter Knife or Karambit, but it's at least up there. It's almost as good as those two. And then finally, and quite interestingly, our tac sprint speed is the fastest out of all of the melee weapons in the game at 8.27 meters per second. So this is actually faster than the Gutter Knife and Karambit, which were previously the best in this area. So that means this Gutter Knife is really nice when combined with either the infantry vest or the running sneakers, and you'll most likely want to combine those running sneakers with the ninja vest, because you really need those silent footsteps if you are going to be knifing only. And if you do use one of those 2 options, you're going to have a really solid tac sprint duration and recovery speed, and you'll be able to navigate the maps very, very quickly when in a tac sprint. Also, even if you aren't looking to play with the knife-only playstyle and you want to use a gun, but you want to get good opening routes, for instance, in Search and Destroy, this actually makes the Gladiator a really solid choice here as well, since it will allow you to get to certain positions faster than anything else in the game, as long as you're taking advantage of tac sprint as much as possible. And there we go, that wraps it up for all of the important stats. However, there is one last topic I wanted to talk about here before I share my overall final thoughts on the Gladiator. And this is the fact that the Gladiator is not included in the free tiers of the Battle Pass, which, if I'm remembering correctly, this isn't normally the case. Normally, any brand new base weapon, whether that's a melee weapon or a ranged weapon, is going to be available within the free tiers of the Battle Pass. So you don't need to pay for the Battle Pass, you just have to grind through the tiers, and as long as you hit that tier, you will end up unlocking that base gun or base melee weapon. But for some reason, that's not the case with the Gladiator this time around. Now, as an alternative, before you open your wallet just to get this Gladiator, I just wanted to point out you can still unlock this if somebody drops it for you in Modern Warfare Zombies. You just need to find somebody that already has a Gladiator. They can drop it on the ground, you pick it up and extract with it, and then it's yours permanently across all modes. Or another alternative is just wait for the Battle Pass to end. I'm sure there will likely be a challenge to unlock the Gutter Knife in Season 4 once this Battle Pass is completed. Obviously, that route kind of sucks since you won't be able to play with it at all throughout Season 3, but I just wanted to point out there are options to get the Gladiator without having to spend any money or COD points on the Battle Pass if you're the type that just doesn't buy Battle Passes. Now, obviously, for all of you that do buy the Battle Pass, then you will just be getting it as you unlock through your tiers. And with that in mind, let's just circle back to my thoughts on the Gladiator. Overall, I do consider it to be a pretty solid melee weapon in the game. It doesn't really do anything too interesting or unique. It's really not that much different from the other melee weapons we have in the game. Sure, it's got a couple of its own pros and cons that may help in very specific situations, and it is great for tac sprint speed. I'd say that's one of the biggest benefits with this is its tac sprint speed. But outside of that, it's a pretty standard melee weapon, and honestly, if I didn't buy the Battle Pass, for instance, I don't really feel like I'd be missing out on much without having this Gladiator unlocked. Now, of course, these are just my opinions on the Gladiator, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this one in those comments down below. Do you guys like this melee weapon, or not so much? And also, how do you feel about the fact that this is not in the free tiers of the Battle Pass like we would normally expect in previous seasons? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.